Hi guys, it's Michelle. Welcome back to my cooking channel. Today we're going to have steak, mashed potatoes, and broccoli. It's a very rare occasion in my house, but join me in my kitchen so we can get it done. We're starting with my sides today. I have about 2.5 pounds of potatoes, the red potatoes cut into quarters. I have what was left over of the broccoli the other day. So to the broccoli, since we have to start with our sides, I'm going to add some onion powder, some garlic powder, and then you just eyeball this, guys, depending on the amount of broccoli. That's a little bit of salt. I'm also gonna add some olive oil. I'm gonna toss this to coat. Right now you can add some black pepper too. I need a little bit more olive oil. This is gonna go in a 450-degree oven. I'm still preheating, so I have to wait. And this is just very little. So I would say, what, a 1/4 teaspoon of onion powder. I'm gonna put a little bit more. That's just regular onion powder. A 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder, and then the salt should be good. I would add pepper for sure on this. I'll add pepper to mine. So once you've tossed that up, it soaks up the olive oil. So you don't want to go crazy, but you do want, oh, there's my oven. You do want it to be coated. So I'm gonna just put this on there, pop this in the oven for 10 minutes. Let's get it even on here. You don't want it too crowded. You're gonna pop this in the oven for 10 minutes, and then you're gonna stir it up a little bit and then put it back in. In 10 minutes, so carefully, I'm gonna open the oven. It's very hot because remember it's set to 450. Sorry about my finger. Carefully, we're gonna move this around. See how it's starting to get nice and roasted? Pop that back in. It's gonna go in for another 10 minutes. Now I'm gonna get half a stick of butter into the same pan where I should have turned off the heat, where I was boiling the potatoes. I'm gonna put some half and half. Typically I use just milk, but the milk is upstairs and my 2-year-old is taking a very late nap. And you don't wake a sleeping baby. She's very sick. I wasn't planning on making this video, but I finally got her down and I figured I need to use the steak. So I'm gonna add the potatoes. You never add cold milk to your potatoes because you don't want it to get gummy. Okay, with a little elbow grease, you can just smash the potatoes. I love it with skin on. You can put some garlic in here, pepper. I added a little bit of salt. So since I used half of the bag of potatoes, I used half the stick of butter. I know it's a lot, but I typically use the full stick of butter for the 5-pound bag. It is 5 pounds of potatoes though. So I'm not gonna smash this like perfectly because I want it very rustic. I want it lumpy. It already has the skin on it, so that, you know, that goes with the look. So we're done with this. I'm gonna take this off the heat so it doesn't completely dry up. I'm gonna put my colander away and I'm gonna see if these are at room temperature. We're still a little cold. We basically want these to be completely room temperature before we start cooking them. That way they cook more evenly. Excuse the noise, guys. With this oven on, the AC will not stop. You can hear everything from the kitchen. Okay, so I'm gonna take this off the hot pan and I'm gonna wait for this to preheat to 500. It's not going to take too long, so I'm going to turn my cast iron enamel coated pan onto a medium-high heat. And we'll be ready to go. These things are mostly room temperature. I'm going to start seasoning this in a second. Before I start seasoning, I've mixed together half a teaspoon of salt. I put a 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder in there, and it does have a 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. That's for 2 of them. To the other one, I will just add salt. Also, my sister came home and her friend Miguel had brought some croquetas from I don't know where, but they're amazing. And thank you so much, Miguel, because you have no idea what this means to me, because I had such a hard day with Marley being sick and all, so I appreciate it. So let's get to seasoning. Okay, so our pan is hot and our oven is hot. So I'm gonna get some oil. I mixed some olive oil and vegetable oil. So don't come at me for that, because, you know, I cross-contaminated the oils, guys. It's just oil. And I'm going to put salt. Remember, this is a thick cut of steak. Just keep that in mind when you're seasoning. And I'm not putting that brush back in the oil, because then I can't use the oil again. So I'm just gonna brush this out on the other side. And more salt. Both sides get a nice coating of salt. You have to make sure both sides are dry. I don't think that's an issue when you buy really good quality meat, but just pat it dry anyway. And that pan is coming back to temperature. I'm going to use our salt, pepper, and garlic powder mixture. I'm going to flip this over, do the same thing. The pan is heating up again. You want to clean the pan between, or just like wipe the grease down. Pour all the juice with the meat that's resting. Okay. So, pan's starting to smoke, right on time. We're gonna sear this for 30 seconds. And then once that sears, 30 seconds on one side. If you want, we'll time it together. And then I'll flip it, sear it 30 seconds on the next side. And then I'll do the same thing and pop it back in the oven. Some people actually put butter at this time. I think that's crazy, because butter does not have a high, it's not a high heat oil. That was 30 seconds. I think I'm gonna keep it going. Butter doesn't have, it doesn't burn at high heat, it just burns. So don't do that. Just use vegetable oil. I put olive oil, but vegetable oil burns at a higher heat, so I mixed the two. That's why I mixed the two. Okay. My pan wasn't as hot as it was the first time, because it was in the oven and then I put it back on the heat. So I'm gonna let this go for about 40 seconds, like I did the other side, and then I'll pop this back in the oven. So I'm gonna pop this in the oven. So if you like medium rare, put it, it's kind of heavy, put it at 500 degrees for 5 minutes. I put the last one for a total of 8 minutes. After I took it out, I didn't like how it looked. So remember, they're 1.5 inches thick actually. 500 degrees. I'm gonna set it, let's set this one to 7. All right, we're done here. Be careful taking this out because it's heavy. Look at that beauty. So I'm gonna put this to rest. Nice. Let's see what the other side looks like. Look at that. If you want to let the bottom side sear a little bit more, you can. If you want to flip it, you can. You don't need to. I'm going to let it rest for at least 5 minutes. I think I can turn this off. I'm going to let it rest for at least 5 minutes. And then I will top it with some butter with fresh thyme. Just a little. We don't eat like this every day, guys. Let me just put the 5-minute timer here. And then I'll serve it up. Look how perfect this plate looks. Kind of excessive, but we don't eat like that all the time. All right, guys, excuse the mess, but it's time to taste this. I already have rave reviews on the steak and how it's better than Outback. So that's awesome. That nobody could have given me a better review than that. It's so good. I think this method, I should say, of preparing the meat works great. It takes the guesswork out of, you know, should I cook it longer? Should I flip? The steak cuts like butter. What I was saying before I got a phone call, this method of preparing the meat takes the guesswork out of making it and having it at the doneness that you want. If you want it medium rare, you cook it for 5 minutes in the oven. And then if you want it medium, maybe 7 to 8. And if you want well done, then we can't be friends. Anyway, guys, I thought this was great. If you liked it, please hit like down below. And don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more recipes. Thanks, Miguel, again for the croquetas. They were amazing. Bon appetit. Guys, he just said it was the best steak he's ever had. Yay!